for Imperial, especially considering they've got a couple of world champions on the roster as well.
They certainly do. Well, we're talking about world champions. We're looking to see who will progress through to the semi-final in Shanghai. This is Crossfire Stars 2019, our quarterfinals, the best of three between All Gamers and Imperial.
A lot of very stern faces there as well to start things off, and we head into Black Widow. It'll be our first map, and not a bad start there for All Gamers. Incidentally, also their map choice. If Beam gets rolling here on the first map, that will be a scary prospect for Imperial.
Interesting decision, though, coming out from Imperial. It's actually going to be Danimal running the ARM this time around. Not something we've usually seen him use. Occasionally, he will be the secondary backup for his team, but he definitely needs the impact now with GDSC already being taken out at the start of the round.
That will be for sure. All Gamers not necessarily doing anything too crazy off the back of that, being quite methodical for now, and TMQ is going to catch another. Nenems will fall. So this is really solid stuff from All Gamers, you know, just probing, working the map, looking for those picks, and so far they've been able to find them, and now a 5v3 to enter the A bomb site with really only Will there to pose too much of a threat until Danimal does get out from the window. He's easily traded back down, and this round is looking way too easy for All Gamers. They've essentially roamed around, done what they wanted to do, and Imperial has not been able to do anything to stall them.
It's definitely a case of Imperial getting a bit caught off guard here, but Felipe does manage to find the kill onto Bean, making this now just a 1-on-3, but still, he's going to have to work very hard to take this one back. Finds another there onto ZQ, but still with just 14 HP, it's going to be a tough 1v2 clutch here to retake this bomb site. 20 seconds on the clock. Has to try and make it happen, but it's not going to work out. ZY finishes him off, and that'll be the first round over to AG.
Now, this is what I worry about a little bit for Imperial, and I think it has been true in a lot of their games. We've seen, you know, maybe not necessarily the case when they played against Black Dragons, but certainly when they played against Lazarus and against All Talents yesterday, was that they are slow starters. And I don't think that you're really going to be able to get away with that against AG, even though this is a best of three.
Yeah, definitely not. We saw against Baisha, they had a slow start, but AG didn't give them any hopes of coming back. They took the 10-1, but this time around, it's going to be a quick engage over towards the A-bomb site. Imperial finds two, but AG will answer back with two of their own here. They have to try and clear this one out. The rotations are already coming through here. It is going to be Nenems quickly on the flank. Nobody actually watching that position just yet.
Felipe almost gets caught on the cross there as well by TMQ. Bomb plant still yet to go down here for All Gamers, so time at the moment is in the favor of Imperial, but it seems again like All Gamers are being very methodical. They're doing their best, just making sure that they clear out every angle here, not leaving anything to chance when it comes to putting that C4 on the floor. And we find ourselves with a 3v3. The retake here for Imperial certainly is going to be doable. I want to ensure that they pick this one up as well, just so that they can staunch the flow of All Gamers early on in the piece.
Nenems, though, moving very slowly from his positioning here. Still hasn't even peeked out long A. With only 15 seconds left, he has to move quickly, but Felipe's already taken down GDSC as well, and Nenems, he's just too late to the party here. 1-on-3. Surely no chance with just 6 seconds on the clock. Even if he gets the kills, there's just no time here, and that'll be the round over to AG. Just no time to make it happen here for Imperial.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day there, for All Gamers, it's more of a case for target practice when Nenems is there with only 10 seconds and he hasn't even taken control of long. So All Gamers off to a great start, 2-0 here. Imperial really feeling the pressure, and you know, while you see a couple of frags coming out here and there from Imperials, by and large, it's All Gamers getting through these rounds really cleanly. There's another instance of that occurring right in front of our eyes here with Bean and ZY opening things up, and again, Bean will find another. He's now at 5 kills in only 3 rounds. He's the last stand on long and just cannot get enough done there. Only the 1 kill for him. So Danimal left alone, and it seems like All Gamers have a very good idea of exactly where he is as the flashbang flies right into his face. Again, just another super solid round out from All Gamers.
Danimal, not a whole lot he can do here. He'll be taken down very quickly by ZQ, and now it's going to be a 3-0 start. definitely what we were expecting out of AG, but Imperial, they've put a lot of effort into taking control of long, but they still have had zero success in that positioning just yet. Still putting 3 players over towards A this round, but they are going to be playing it a bit more passive. But AG, they are not slowing down here. 4 players all ready to attack on this B bomb site.
There's a change up from all gamers. They have really been showing a lot of presence over toward A. What they haven't changed though is that quick pace. This time, however, Danimal is going to put in some good work, put in some good words for Imperial. Finally, they have some success. And for all gamers, it's really a scramble to even get out of this position as TMQ, low on HP, going to be pushed by Felipe, and it's not a bad trade from ZQ, all things considered, but end of the day, a trade, a 1-for-1 when you're down 5v3 is not nearly going to be enough. It's time for Bean to get up to his usual tricks and does spot out GDSC there, but not quick enough with the shot.
The unfortunate thing for Imperial here, it's going to be, so far, the best 2 performing players here for AG in this 2v4 situation. Bean and ZQ both hitting some incredible shots to start off this first map, and it's going to be Will who's almost put to the test here in mid, but Bean, he's going to be playing this one very carefully, doesn't want any chance of getting traded out if he gets this opening pick in this 2-on-4. Nenims, though, looking to potentially catch him off guard here, going to be playing behind the mid doors. GDSZ grouping up for the support as well. Almost caught on the reload there. Bean getting out just in time. Gets the repeak onto GDSZ, and that's exactly how you get this clutch situation started. Nenims, though, still playing that position behind mid, but now there's an opportunity for AG to take this one back.
I'm not sure why as GDSC you want to be going for a play like that, looking for a 1v1 aim duel. That just gives the chances over to all gamers, and again, now a 3v2 certainly looking much more doable than a 4v2, that's for sure. ZQ starts to creep his way forward and catches Will out now. Checks the next angle. There's no one behind the box, but someone is close by and he'll fall as well. ZQ's found 2 entries, and all of a sudden, from a 4 versus 2, all gamers have now turned this into a 2v1. 20 seconds left on the bomb. They're going to be able to get that down, planted, well and done. And NM's tasked with a difficult clutch here as ZQ and Bean stacked right on top of each other, and I'm sure you don't expect that. In fact, he won't check the angle. Bean gets it done, and all gamers, I mean, they really just walked into that one for free, didn't they? I think that was definitely on Imperial.
And I think that really shows the weakness here from Imperial. That's a round you cannot afford to let slip if you want to be in the semifinals here, and AG can take the 4-0 lead, but ZQ and Bean hugely leading this initiative right now. 13 frags in just 4 rounds, proving to be the unstoppable force for their team so far in this half, but there is still time for recovery here. It's a best of 3. They just need to get their composure on the side of Imperial and start to claw back at the scoreboard before it's too late. GDSC, though, one of the players we're hoping to see that impact come out of. He was so strong in some of their earlier matchups, but this time around, only 1 frag on the board so far, getting a little bit too eager on these mid picks, and it looks like he may go for it once again in this round.
It's just the same old story for Imperial, isn't it? We saw during the group stages, off to a poor start and needing to claw their way back into the map. And that might be well and good against teams like Lazarus and teams like All Talents, the weaker teams at this competition, but against All Gamers, who is potentially a title contender, not sure that you're going to be able to get away with that too often. GDSC, though, opens things up this round, so it's time for Imperial to consolidate. Bean's got an opportunity, but only a chance for 1 there as he overpeaks the corner. LSN might be the difference maker here for all gamers if he can get the timing right in through mid and maybe cut off some of those rotations, but that also depends on whether or not ZQ and ZY will be able to make entries happen on the bomb side itself. GDSC does indeed fall. Long is still dirty here for all gamers, and they're very well aware of that. But I wonder what LSN is going to be able to do. I think he's the difference maker here, and that is a big frag. Danimal falls in mid, and that means the reinforcements are not coming for Nenems and Felipe.
ZQ already going to spot Felipe here as well. The 2-on-3 not looking so good for Imperial. Nenems has to catch them off guard, but he may have just given his position away already. LSN on this flank is going to be huge here. Takes down Felipe. It's a 1-on-3 now. Nenems needs something huge to make it happen, but it's just not going to. And yet again, we see Imperial falling to the fire here of AG as they take a 5-0 lead here.
AG really starting to ramp up in this game now as well, aren't they? It's starting to get a bit hot under the collar, I think, for Imperial. And again, another advantageous situation for Imperial that just doesn't go their way. It was a 5v4. And then LSN able to have so much power from the position that he took in mid. Well, here's another chance for Imperial, as this time TMQ will fall early. And AG again are playing 4v5 pretty much from the outset of the round. But it doesn't seem to matter.
An interesting change, though, here. It's actually LSN picking up the on, being back on the AK now this time around.
LSN's low on HP.
Factor, but yeah, definitely with the low HP, it makes sense to go for that change here. It looks like AG want to try their luck once again over towards the A bomb site. This time around, though, they will have at least a bit more defenders in positioning here. It's going to be Will holding the initial cross here over towards A, but they need to be careful against all 4 remaining players. They haven't had the best of luck on these holds towards A.
LSN is the one that's tasked with the peak. So he'll just start to creep across here with the Orm. Hasn't spotted Will just yet, who's behind the truck. But certainly getting a bit of space here. It's not looking too bad for All Gamers just yet. They've also got a player locking down mid. That, at the moment, is Bean. The rest will make their way forward up long. Will takes the challenge, a 2-for-1. That's much better from Imperial. Certainly more solid than we've seen in the past, but let's make sure that we lock down the 2v4, I think is what they'll be saying to each other. Need to be aware of Bean, though, and ZQ. These are the 2 danger men for All Gamers, and already they've turned it back to a 3v2, which certainly is doable. And again, maybe a lucky stroke there for Imperial as someone is able to cross, and being caught on the push, trying to get some more damage done. ZQ, though, he just doubles down, holds onto the spray, and there goes Danimal and Felipe. And you'd have to back ZQ in a 1v1 right now. He's 9-3, seems absolutely unstoppable, and he's got another opportunity to be the hero for the roster and put another nail in the coffin of Imperial.
GDSC, he's going to swing out for the peak, but he will actually win that 1v1 duel. And Imperial finally, they get around on the board here, 1-5, but still a huge effort from ZQ there, along with Bean, to try and win yet another numbers down situation. But it's still going to be a 5-1 lead. They have to be fairly comfortable in this position.
I don't know. That could have been really, really dangerous. I mean, it already is dangerous for Imperial, but it could have just gotten so much worse if just another clutch goes the way of All Gamers. Finally, Imperial have something to get excited about. I wonder whether that'll be the resurgence for them. Nonetheless, double sniper set up for All Gamers to start this round off. LSN and Bean. Not sure that will persist too long into the round, but for now, looking for those picks, and they're not finding anything just yet.
And LSN already going to switch back to the AK here. Looks like they are going to be putting their attention over towards the B-bomb side in this round, just leaving Bean over here to try and get a pick over towards A. If they can get that pick, though, they may just rotate back into it here. Imperial having a rough time in these early round situations here, but the change I do like to see is they're not getting too aggressive in mid this time around.
I like to see All Gamers with 5 alive at a minute and a half left in the round as well. Say that, though. Maybe a case of Caster's Curse. ZY will fall to GDSC. And again, very much from the outset of any action, All Gamers will be playing with a numbers disadvantage. And inevitably, you have to expect that Imperial are going to get a handle on things and make sure that they start closing those 4v5s out with a little more consistency than they were doing earlier on in this half. This time a progression up short from All Gamers. They'll make their way again towards the A site. And it's been, as it always is, for All Gamers to open up the account. This time a 4v4 as All Gamers will enter the bomb site. That's great from ZQ, just dropping down, but not aware of Felipe, ready for the trade. And it leaves Bean now in a 2v1, but still a very much doable situation, particularly if these players from Imperial give him 1v1s, and they almost do. He's got it into the 1v1, but can't win it. And that's 2 in a row now for Imperial.
Now as we go into 5-2, Imperial, they're starting to get the rounds on the board, but still it's very sloppy in the rounds they're still able to pick up and hold on to, just coming down to a lot of 1v1 situations. But Danimal will take down TMQ to start off this round and get Imperial in a pretty good position to pick up another round here. And a 5-4 half wouldn't be too bad considering how this started.
Definitely not. And I think for All Gamers, it is starting to become a problem. The fact that they're losing so many players early on in the round and they're never really able to take a 5v5. 3 rounds in a row now, Imperial has started off with the first pick, and now this is a second for Imperial as well. while there was a little bit of excitement and some good clutches out from all gamers, which got them through some of those earlier rounds, we're starting to see that fall off just a little bit as the equilibrium is restored here. And Imperial reaping the rewards, the fruits of their labor coming into effect as they're being able to close more and more of these rounds out. And as you say, if they can bring it back to 4, that very much puts them in a contestable position in the second half. They just need to make sure that they lock down the remaining couple of rounds. Certainly need to lock down this one. They have a huge advantage here.
AG, though, taking a lot of time to try and clear almost every angle they can before they sneak in for the execution, but it's actually Felipe who throws the early flash as Will tries to flank out, throws a pop flash of his own, finds one onto LSN, and that's exactly what they needed here. The bomb is taken down as well. AG has to react here, or it's going to be too late. ZQ, already on 13 HP, still manages to get a kill out of it. ZY's found one as well, and somehow they're still alive in this. Nenim's caught looking down at the ground in the 2v5. Somehow narrows to a 1-on-2 now as Danimal finally takes down ZQ, but ZY has a real chance here. GDSC spotted under the bridge. He's going to see if he can find a way into this trade, but here comes Danimal swinging out as well. Can't connect the frag, and ZY has a real opportunity here, but he runs out of ammo, 20 seconds on the clock. No bomb in his hand. He has to go for this frag here. GDSC just toying with him, trying to run down this clock and stay alive, and he finally will connect the shots there to pick up round number 3 for Imperial, but that got very scary. A 2v5 comes down to just a 1v1 for Imperial.
Definitely some shaky signs still there for Imperial, even though they had a huge numbers advantage. To let it get to that point is too close for comfort as far as I'm concerned, and AG are the kind of team that's going to punish you for it. Not in the last round, but they certainly got mighty close. All it took was one headshot. I mean, if you can activate ZQ earlier in the rounds, I think that's what's going to be key here for All Gamers, because he seems to be ripping heads off, but not until All Gamers have lost 1 or 2 players. So they can start off with the advantage as opposed to trying to fight back from a deficit here. All Gamers should be pretty comfortable in the round. I mean, a 6-3 half here on Black Widow would not be too bad of a result at all either.
AG going for the full execution here over towards the B-bomb site. Danimal has to be the linchpin that holds on for his team here. Felipe already taken down. AG with the man advantage trying to force their way in here, but Danimal not giving them any action just yet. Goes for the wide peek, gets the collateral spray down. Will gets the double kill as well. It's Bean all alone in a 1-on-3, and somehow Imperial have found their way back into this half. 24 HP left on Bean, and not a whole lot of hope left in sight.
Man, you could really see the momentum shift in that round once the utility ran out for All Gamers. Once the flashes stopped being thrown in the connector, that's when Danimal takes the opportunity to strike, and Imperial are going to win a really big one. We're back to a 5-4 as we enter half-time. Imperial are very happy about that, as you would be. It was really looking like that could have been 7 or 8 maybe on the board for All Gamers at one point. But Imperial have really been able to salvage things there, and so for All Gamers on their own map choice, maybe a little disheartening to allow it to come back so much. But I suppose that's the danger you face when you play against Imperial, because they are a team that, yes, while they start slow, once they really get the ball rolling, are a phenomenal force.
Now they haven't let that momentum go yet either. It's 4 straight rounds as well as we go into the second half here for Imperial. AG, they started off this game 5-0, but that has not stopped the Brazilian hopefuls from trying to take this one back away from them. As we go into the second half, it's just a 1-round difference here as AG looks to turn things around on their defense.
Imperial are going to just probe in toward mid for the moment. It seems as though AG are also getting a little bit aggressive up short. And in mid there with TMQ taking a peek through the double doors, but of course the smoke will keep both teams at bay. Danimal cops a few bullets for his trouble, but he's still a gun in the game. That's what matters at the end of the day. Now, what I do like to see here for Imperial is that they are kind of exploring long. We've seen that aggression on short. They're starting to get an idea of how All Gamers are set up on this defensive side. And they're taking some map control accordingly. And they've also taken control quite extensively in towards the B site. So a lot of options available right now for Imperial. Can go toward either bomb site. And GDSC will lurk his way out onto the B bomb site. Catches TMQ into mid as well, and Bean falls. That's not good news at all for Imperial. But if LSN can hold on to the bomb site, maybe there's something to be said here. ZY tries to get aggressive alongside ZQ. That'll result in a 1-for-1, but it's all onto LSN here on the B bomb site. Needs to do the dirty work for his team right now as he ducks behind the boxes with the Orm, looking for the reload. But inevitably, he's going to have to take these challenges, and he will do so quite well. ZQ's gotten there just in time as well to help out. And we find ourselves, once again, with a 1v1.
And right now, it will be very difficult. The bomb down right in front of the box room here. ZQ and Will have to fight for it. Will, he actually sneaks into position here. I'm not sure if ZQ noticed it. He's going to go for the wide swing. Will misses the shots initially, but still manages to connect there and pick up a huge round for Imperial. That's 5 straight to answer the 5-0 start from AG now to tie this one up. 5-5 overall.
And the more rounds that Imperial wins, the louder they get. And the quieter that All Gamers gets as well. The momentum certainly has shifted. Tables have turned here on Black Widow. Seems like a long time ago that we saw that big streak of rounds for All Gamers, and really, they're not hoping for a big streak of rounds right now. They're just hoping to break the drought, get back into the winner's circle. Here's another chance for All Gamers, and this time the aggression has worked perfectly. ZY and ZQ finding a killer piece. They got the information that there's a player in mid there as well, so ZQ should just be able to swing on this and finish off Felipe, who was very low on HP, but waiting for Will to work his way forward. That's the perfect bait again here from All Gamers. And that round looked like it went exactly by the book.
Now GDSC, he's going to be left in this 1v3 situation. He almost connects there onto the kill in mid. But now with just 23 HP, he has to try and play his cards right and maybe salvage this round. But still, he has no control of the bomb as well. His team actually left it in the blacklist spawn, so he has to go all the way back around if he even wants to try and plant at this point. May just not be enough here, though. TMQ and Bean playing very patiently over towards the B bomb site. It's actually ZY over here as well now. They've completely stacked this, but the bomb being down in spawn does leave the opportunity to try and sneak back over towards A here. GDSC trying to spot players here over towards B, does manage to catch one off guard. It's going to be TMQ going down with both players remaining very low on HP. This is actually a winnable clutch now.
Yeah, that sort of changes the tide a little bit, doesn't it? GDSC is going to go and collect the bomb. And now you see All Gamers start to think about things as well as they rotate both their players into mid. They've gone over to the A bomb site. They've been spotted as well by GDSC, so I wonder if he continues this. Oh, he's going to go sneaking into mid. Bean gets caught now as well. It's 2 1-for-1s. And now finally another 1v1. ZY peeks his head up. He's low on HP, and GDSC, he wins the 3 versus 1. And you can see what that means to Imperial as well. Goodness me. All Gamers, what has happened?
It's a very unfortunate situation for All Gamers. 6 straight rounds into the hands of Imperial, but this time around they're ready to aggress here. LSN already picks up 2. TMQ finds another. Nenims left alone here, but Danimal finds at least one in mid before going down, but it doesn't look like enough here. Nenims 1-on-4, surely not another clutch here to go their way.
Well, it's not over till it's over. Certainly doesn't look too good for Nenims, but you can never count him out. Inevitably, LSN will find 3 kills for the round, and finally a round on the board for All Gamers. They'll equalize it back at 6 apiece, but I mean, as far as the last 7 rounds are concerned, Imperial have won 6 of them. That's still a great statistic. More aggression from All Gamers. They feel like they've found a winning formula with that play style. 1-for-1 here. LSN is going to sneak forward as well toward the B side of the map, but again, it seems like now Imperial are a little bit more prepared for that. And it hasn't worked out well for All Gamers this time. Very messy round. We do find ourselves at 2v2.
ZQ now the player to feel the pressure. Both Imperial players will be working their way up the catwalk, but ZQ, he's going to over-rotate into mid. They have complete control of the site now, uncontested. ZQ waiting for the potential plant here to try and peek out. Has a nade prepped and ready for this one. Danimal actually taking a lot of damage from that one, about half HP. ZQ looking for the repeat, but Danimal has snuck in under the window now. TMQ ready for the positioning, can't hit the shot. ZQ there to trade it out. It's down to the 1v1. Nenims playing his time very carefully here on the catwalk position. has to just wait for the defuse and go out for the safe peek. Doesn't want to give up any chance of peeking a bit too soon and giving a chance for the round over to AG. ZQ taps the bomb, but it's not going to matter. Nenim's ready to peek. Takes the round for Imperial, and the one on the board may not be enough for AG to try and take this one back now. Imperial in their first lead, actually, of the game.
Well, it was a nice open plant for Nenim, so there wasn't too much that he had to do until the bomb was tapped. So he played it to perfection. Another one on the board for Imperial as they creep another round closer to picking up Black Widow, which again was all gamers map choice. So there's a little bit resting on this one for the Chinese squad.
As we see again, though, Imperial leaving the bomb in spawn once again. A very interesting choice here, but it looks like they just want to play for picks at the opening of the round. AG this time not going to be throwing any early aggression at Imperial. They're much more scared in this round. They know they can't afford to make any more small mistakes to give up a round to Imperial, especially as they're only 3 away from closing out map number 1, which, keep in mind, was AG's pick. So to lose this one going into Anchor as map number 2 is going to be a bit worrisome for AG.
It's just another half that AG is struggling in, where Bean is also struggling. And if he's not kind of getting the ball rolling, it really does feel like AG lose some of that magic that we've seen from them so far at this event. No one else really able to step up and fill those shoes quite like he could. Direction up short from Imperial this time. A 1-for-1 trade, but ZY still stands, and he stands well with a double kill. But even still, more players continue to push forward for Imperial, and Bean gets traded out. Now it's on to LSN, who's spotted out GDSZ, but has to clutch out the 2v1. Many times we've seen all gamers in scenarios like this. It really does look like Imperial are getting the better of them more often than not these days. Ellison's been quite sneaky, but Danimal has spotted him, and that should well be the end of the round here now. With 15 seconds left on the clock, LSN just has way too much ground to cover, too many players to find, and even if he were to get Danimal, should not have made too much of a difference. The boys are pumped up here for Imperial, and they're pumping each other up as well.
Now you can see it on the AG side as well. Very, very quiet. They know things have gone completely against them at this point. But finally, we do see Bean getting the opening pick, but it's not going to matter. Will already answering back by taking down ZY. ZQ just had a player walk right past him. He has no idea. GDSC sneaks away, but he doesn't check the corner, so he will eventually go down anyways here. ZQ and Bean very low from the initial fight here in mid, but they do have the man advantage to work with now.
You'd expect things to slow down a little bit here, but I'm not sure that Imperial are too keen on that idea. They've actually figured out that the A bomb side is completely open after the pick they got there. And once more, into 3 versus 3. Equal number scenario have been traditionally favoring Imperial of late. Felipe is watching for the rotation on long. TMQ, an easy kill there for Felipe, though it does lose a fair bit of HP. Still, a gun in the game. And the numbers are there now for Imperial. They're playing for match point right now. Danimal will just clean both up. And they're now 1 away from winning their opponent's map choice. Imperial very keen on that.
And the crazy thing to think of now, out of the last 10 rounds, Imperial has won 9 of them. AG getting their first 5 rounds on the board. They started this one off 5-0. To think they could lose it 10-6 is insane at this point, but Imperial, they've done their due diligence here, and they know how they want to bring this one back. They've shown tons of aggression here in the second half. They have no fear in taking on these aim duels against all gamers. So far, it's paid off in their favor here in half number 2. It's going to be GDSC looking for the initial pick here over towards the B bomb site. He's actually alone, trying to find maybe a potential fake here to throw as well. 3 players from Imperial are working their way up mid.
Not a bad grenade through there. It's going to tag ZQ and ZY just a little. Danimal waiting patiently for any more of that characteristic aggression that AG have been showing us so far on this defensive side, but it's not going to happen this round by the looks of things. I may have spoken too soon. Smoke does go down for Danimal, but he does not keep watching the mid doors, and that'll be his undoing. TMQ sneaks by. Now number disadvantage for Imperial, which is something they haven't faced too much on the attack in this half. But very quickly traded back Felipe there, and I think they've spotted the player behind the box. Bean is going to have to do some magical work with this Orm right now, and the shots are not being connected, certainly not as solidly as we've seen in the past from Bean, which is going to allow Imperial across onto the bomb site. They've gotten the bomb down as well. Equal numbers advantage, but good map control here for AG, however. And Ems will fall. Imperial looking for revenge. Felipe's only going to get one though, and now it rests on the shoulders of Will. Can he close the round out? Can he close the map out for his team?
Bean going to be caught in the double doors, but still finally able to hit a nice shot here, and at a key moment as well for all gamers. They will keep things alive here for themselves on Black Widow, but it's still going to be match point opportunities over to Imperial. 2 more to try and make it happen. Otherwise, AG may be able to take this one into overtime, and if you're Imperial, you probably don't want to be looking at that overtime situation as we saw against Anubis. AG, their team that can definitely turn up the heat when they need to in those overtimes.
Yeah, certainly. More presence on the B side of the map for all gamers. They seem to have dealt with that fairly aptly, rotated the player across into the side itself. It's a 3-2 split. No one really keeping an eye on middle just yet, or the Chinese squad. But Imperial haven't really been showing too much presence in middle either, so I think you can kind of give all gamers a pass mark for that. It seems like an adaptation, a bit of a read rather than negligence on their part. Once more up short here for Imperial.
Now we do see Imperial potentially to rotate here over towards the B-bomb site. They leave Danimal on the catwalk here to try and maybe even sell a fake here, work his way out mid. Danimal throwing some pre-fire there behind the double doors. Not going to find anything just yet. AG, they are playing this one extremely passive. They have the A-long control, and Imperial seem to have caught on to this, and they're going to be working pretty much everyone on their roster, aside from Danimal, over towards this B execution, just leaving him in mid to play the role of the lurk here and maybe sneak up behind.
Well, TMQ has a job to do, and he's going to do it well. The first will fall. That's Felipe going down, and now TMQ swings around once again to find a headshot. Will falling as the second player into the bomb site for Imperial. Finally, his reign of terror is shut down by Nenems, and we're back to a 3 versus 3. As the Brazilian side do look to take control of the B-bomb site. ZQ certainly not wanting to pop his head up there. Bomb plant's down now. Tense times here for AG, as they are now the ones with the onus to make the move. Imperial are in good post-plant positions.
Bean has to be the one to open this up now. Just 22 seconds to get in here and defuse that bomb. GDSC just trying to bait them out. Danimal on the flank, though. They have no idea here. Danimal, he can't connect the shots fast enough, and Bean, he actually gets 2 kills out of it. Nenem's left alone, 10 seconds. They have to go in for the defuse now, and it's going to be Nenems who finds one. There's no time here. The defuse has to come now, but it's not going to happen. Bean, he misses the shots. It's going to be Imperial taking the first map, 10-7. Incredible performance from them to bring it back. It started off 5-0, but that doesn't matter here, as it will be a 10-7 finish to Imperial.
Welcome back to the desk here at the quarterfinals of Crossfire Stars 2019. Well, Imperial somehow managing to bring it back on Black Widow. They were 5-0 down to 10-7. Look, I kind of called out Danimal at the top of the day and said, really feels like we hadn't seen much from him so far. He was a 2018 champion, and Kyle, right now, he is back in the game.
I mean, not only that, you have GDSC stepping up to the plate and shutting down Bean, who's normally such a key player for the All Gamers lineup, and he just couldn't do anything in that second half for his team.
Yeah, it was very, very surprising. That Bean was such a player all week, Jordan, and he's almost just like he's not here.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on, does it? I mean, he started off well, right? In that 5-0 lead that All Gamers was able to find. It was looking fantastic for him. He was one of the standout players for All Gamers. But as soon as things sort of swing away from him, it really seems like All Gamers are kind of going a little bit missing, right? They have great hot streaks, but they have incredibly poor cold streaks as well. And I mean, Imperial, once they get going, they don't seem to stop.
Yeah, it's a peculiar thing for me because it feels like when they're comfortable and in control, they can continue. But the very nature of Crossfire is that round to round, it doesn't matter how the previous round went. It's all mental then. It's really just an issue with, you know, what they're thinking and the pressure and how it applies. And now all of a sudden they're down on their own map here. And look, they're potentially one map away, Kyle, from being eliminated before they even reach the arena. And that would be pretty disappointing for a Chinese team, of course.
It definitely would be, and All Gamers, they have to be a bit nervous here going into not only a map where they could lose this series, it's also not their pick either, in a map where we saw them struggle quite a bit against Anubis on Ankara. So I think for All Gamers, they really just need to mentally reset here and prepare for this one. And going into a potential map 3, I think the third map looks a lot stronger for them than potentially the second map does.
Yeah, and I think Kyle's right there, right? But particularly when we saw Bean earlier, I think on Port, that's where he was really popping off in the A-bomb site. So for me, this is Imperial's chance really right here, right, to close it out on their own map pick. That's what they're looking for.
Yeah, definitely would expect that if it does end up going to Port, All Gamers are going to have a really good shot at that one. So I'd like to see if Imperial is going to go through the quarterfinals here. I'd like to see them do it right now. And off we go. It seems we're going to go on to Port instead. So that's an interesting choice. All Gamers will be happy with that.
Definitely will be here. All Gamers going to have a chance to take this into map number 3 now here, playing the more favorable side first as well. Could play to their advantage, but this time around, Imperial able to come out guns blazing. Felipe already with the double kill, answered back nicely though, as it will be a 2-for-2 exchange here over in the B tunnels. It actually forces Imperial to back off here and start the rotation over towards this A-bomb side attack.
They do have a little bit of control in mid here, Imperial. They'll start to work their way up the ladder as well. LSN does spot out Danimal, who also fires a few shots back in his direction. But Imperial are quite content to slow things down a little here. Maybe try to work the angles in mid and look for the kill onto LSN or onto Bean. Either of which are suffering too much damage. Bean, though, is going to throw some right back at GDSZ. That might have been an ill-fated decision for Imperial. Nonetheless, 2v3. Still a workable round for the Brazilian squad.
Now we'll see if the 2 reigning world champions here can be what they need to recover this round and put them in a nice lead to start off map number 2 and keep the momentum on their side. But LSN lurking right behind this mid door. Danimal potentially to go into this death trap here. Bean now shifting up to play right next to him as well. This could be quite the peak to try and challenge for Danimal here. Just barely keeping his presence unknown behind this door, but it's going to be Will who's now trying to find his way into this fight as well. But Danimal already gets the opening. Will snuck onto the A-bomb site, though, and he's already planting the bomb. This is a huge momentum boost in the round now for Imperial, as now AGR forced into a full rotation and retake.
Danimal's done the perfect thing there as well. He knows that Will's taking control of the A-bomb site. He knows that he doesn't need to do anything, and All Gamers are going to be the ones that inevitably push for information, so he plays quite safe. Danimal, though, not going to learn from what he was able to do quite previously, and leaves Will in a 1v2, which again is not going to go too well at all. I mean, that was shaping up nicely for Imperial, and then it sort of falls to bits. I liked what I saw there from Danimal, but inevitably it doesn't matter in the end. All Gamers will pick the round up.
Felt like in that positioning, Imperial, they had everything they needed to, but then they overpeaked on the post plant, giving you so many opportunities for AG to answer back. And just like that, AG will pick up the first round here of the map and have a chance of their own to start the momentum to go on their side. This time around, Bean looking for that opening pick, but Will finds it. It's going to be a nice counter aggression in mid. And Imperial may try and take advantage of this as they now shift a couple more players in towards that positioning, but again, we see the C4 always dropped at the start of the round from Imperial. Not many teams really doing that, but Imperial, it seems to have worked out in their favor, playing these opening picks and then falling back for the C4. But this time they are going to be going in for the execution over towards B. And as we see, it is going to be Danimal falling back to grab that C4.
A couple of players already set up on B for all gamers. I don't know that Imperial is going to be too over-eager just yet. They're holding on to their position 4 now. Maybe waiting for another push out from all gamers, which has netted them some pretty reasonable results. I mean, obviously on Black Widow and so far today as well. TMQ is holding forward, but a nice entry from Nenems and LSN. Unable to trade as Nenems will get 2. It's ZY that also gets run over, and then ZQ. It felt like just the dominoes. Once the first one was gone, and the rest just followed suit. And that maybe is the case for the rounds as well. Imperial, now that they've got the first, see what's going to happen here for the rest of this half. But it could really be deadly for all gamers if Imperial get some wind in their sails.
Bean looking for the opening pick here in mid once again. Won't be able to find it. Decides to rotate over towards the top of A. Potentially catch a player off guard here, but Imperial very favoring in terms of this mid positioning. They like to try and challenge it very early on, and rightfully so. AG peaking with 2 players minimum every round down mid hasn't seemed to work out too well for them in the previous rounds so far. I'm surprised they haven't changed it up yet and put just 1 player playing it a little bit more safely for the support of his teammates, but it's going to be Imperial now sneaking their way over towards this B bomb site. And as we see, it is going to be the bomb picked up to try and come back in for support as well.
Well, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Imperial have already had success here. They're going to look to do something similar, maybe a little bit less presence into mid this time. It'll be a proper execute, actually, with the grenades coming out. Not really going to tag up anyone on AG this time. It's not the double pump, though, for Imperial. They back off as a result. Again, rotate their way back towards middle. A different setup, though, from AG here.
Danimal once again trying to catch these players in mid. TMQ and LSN will be the 2 playing it this time around, though. TMQ, the new addition to this mid hold. We'll see if he can make it pan out in their favor, and so far it's looking likely. AG pick up 2 kills as the execution comes in towards the B bomb site. It was supposed to be a split, but both mid players are already taken down for Imperial, and AG just collapses in. ZY picks up the double. It's all on GDSC now in a 1-on-4. Finds himself 2 kills, but with no ammo left in the gun, goes down. And AG will hold on to the lead here 2-1.
It's pretty crazy how these rounds are playing out because you see so much passive play style, such slow pace in the early round, and then as soon as the engagement actually happens, it's like the floodgates open, and Imperial just charges right on in, regardless of where they are, whether they're in mid or in B. They're all going at the same time. All gamers well prepared, well set up for it in the previous round. GDSC is going to take a quick peek with the orb. Actually elects to continue to hold on to it. So I wonder if we see a change up of playstyle here for Imperial. Maybe they send him over toward long and see what kind of angle he can work into the A site. Hasn't been an area of the map that Imperial have looked to exploit so far.
Yeah, the one thing with Imperial I'm surprised they haven't really taken advantage of yet is as soon as they apply pressure mid and B, 4 players are already rotating and they leave 1 or none sometimes on that A bomb site. And if they could exploit that, they could have a lot of potential to take this half back into their control. But they seem so adamant on challenging these players in mid that if AG catch onto this, it could actually be the downfall of Imperial here in this half.
I'm sure if you're able to pick up on it, Kyle, then AG will have a bit of an inkling as well. Although I guess they don't have the God vision. They don't get to see everything that we do, but you'll be getting the feeling that there is a lot of presence being put into the middle area of the map by Imperial. And again, there's another example of it. This time LSN is ready and waiting with a double kill. ZY doing much the same on the B-bomb side, and that is just Imperial getting completely shut out of the round. AG finding their feet once again in this matchup.
And Imperial, they have to make the adjustment now. They've pushed 2 players out of mid every single round that they've played this map so far. In a couple rounds, they've even pushed 3 or 4 out. And Imperial, they go for the change-up play. 4 players immediately working their way aggressively into B. No presence in mid besides the late lurk of Will. But it's going to be TMQ sneaking up behind, but he can't find the frags. It's going to go all the way for Imperial here, leaving Bean all alone in a 1-on-4. Already working his way in for the retake, but he doesn't catch Danimal there. Dropping into pit and swinging wide to take him down, and that is exactly what they needed to shift the momentum here away from AG. A quick, aggressive play to catch them off guard.
We've been looking at Port earlier on day 1, and it traditionally was quite a defensive-heavy map. So 2 rounds already on the board here for Imperial, and plenty more left in this half available for them. I think this is not the worst of starts, even though it was looking a little bit scary when they were down 3-1. You know, another two rounds here for Imperial, and you're kind of away scot-free.
Definitely so. 4 rounds on the attacking side of Port can play a big favor for you moving forward into your second half. But AG, this is their chance to take this into a map 3. If they can have a confident 6-3, 7-2 half, they're going to be looking pretty comfortable going into a potential map 3 situation for themselves in order to try and close this one out. But Imperial, as we saw in map number 1, a lead for AG doesn't seem to mean a whole lot here in this matchup. Imperial once again favoring this B-bomb side attack, but this time it's 0 players in mid, all 5 grouped up and ready to execute.
Utility comes across from both sides. Good counter utility though from AG. Does stop Imperial in their tracks, and ZY, he is the brick wall of the site that Imperial are not able to break through, even if they had a battering ram, and maybe the battering ram's name is GDSZ. He's found a couple of kills. Still needs a couple more here, so just disengages the engagement, and I don't mind that idea. Gonna try and look to get behind the AG players, but TMQ on the ball.
And again, it's going to be Imperial forcing their way over towards B a bit too often. It's been 6 rounds of B executes coming out from Imperial, and you have to wonder when they're going to try and take this bomb over towards A, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen yet again. It's going to be Bean taking down Will very early on. Imperial having a lot of struggles here over towards this B-bomb site. ZY now holding the cross in the B tunnels. And Imperial, they've almost turtled up in their spawn at this point. They don't really know where they want to go yet. And there's still no players defending this A bomb site for AG, but they haven't had to yet.
Definitely seems like Imperial are having a pretty intense discussion. You can just hear their player mics. There's a lot of words being exchanged. Try and rally the troops around the A-bomb site here. I don't mind seeing a bit of a change up for Imperial, and not a bad start there for GDSC. Good shot, gets LSN. Nice grenade onto TMQ as well. Imperial definitely working their way through this round very nicely.
The big downside here is there's absolutely no presence over towards this B-bomb site right now for Imperial. Finally, we do see Danimal start to rotate in, but the information already is known here that there has to be a lot of time in between a rotation and a B execution, as we had both ZY and ZQ there pushing into the B tunnels early on to grab that information. But it's going to be, once again, Imperial making the decision to push through mid, but it's actually going to pay off in their favor this time around. But ZY swings right back to try and shut things down here, finds 1, but Nenims gets 2 to answer back. Bean finds 1 from the top of A, but still a 2-on-2. GDSC, though, sneaks behind on the B bomb site, and that is exactly what they needed in this round. But the bomb is still down in mid in the hands of Bean, who can try and hold on here and stall this one out. Nenims, though, sneaking in the lower B tunnels, and Bean has no idea of the positioning here, but he still has some control over this bomb, and it could be enough to get the job done. But Nenims, he's not ready for Bean in that position either. Sneaks out and runs straight into a headshot there. 1v1 situation now. GDSC gives away with the quick switch there of his weapon exactly where he is, and he has no idea. But Bean, he doesn't peek. He knows the time, There's no time to get this bomb down. That's it. The round's over. All gamers win it just by the smart move to play the clock. He could have gone for the peak there, but he risked potentially getting shot. And Imperial, you can see the look on their faces.
Yeah.
They knew they had a chance to win this round, and the time just lets it slip for them.
I mean, I was really very close to applauding Imperial for what they'd been doing there. I mean, you've seen them time and time again try to do a similar strategy with that sort of split in towards mid and in towards B, and yet only now has it finally worked out because of the fact that the B defenders weren't able to get enough damage done. And then all of a sudden, you know, they're going in one by one when they've got a 1v2. Yes, you need to collect the bomb, but at least go together, try to look for the trade. And so Imperial, I think that's a pretty soft round to lose. They've let that one slip and puts them in a pretty bad position now in this first half where you're running out of time in the half, you're running out of possibilities to get the rounds, and I'm not sure that 2 is going to be enough as we see another kill come across for all gamers here. Just don't expect Imperial to come back from a 3v2 right now. Danimal, however, does step up and eliminates Bean. Very aggressive out onto the bomb side as well. He's going to try and do it himself.
Counter utility coming in over the top. Danimal forced back here, but TMQ has already found GDSC in mid alone. This is the problem here for Imperial, almost trying too hard to make these individual plays happen, and when they don't work out, it just completely crumbles for the attack here as ZY forces his way out A-Long, takes down both remaining players, and it's going to be a 6-2 lead for all gamers. Definitely what we would expect from them on a map like Port.
Indeed, especially starting on the defense, so pretty imperative, I think, that Imperial gets this final round here. And a few little nitpicky things that Imperial can go back and look at here after this game to kind of work on. Really could have netted them another couple of rounds, even up to this point. But unfortunately, those fundamentals haven't been clean enough from Imperial here on Port.
Right now, the crazy thing for me is Will is always that go-to entry fragger where we're never questioning his performance, but now 1-7 and a very key map for his team, very unlike him in terms of his past performance. And now more than ever, they need him to step up to the plate and be one of those veterans for the team to lead them towards this potential comeback, as right now, they've ate a lot of nade damage to start off this round. You have Felipe and Nenims both under half, GDSC and Will both around 60 HP as well, so a lot of early damage dealt from the utility coming out from all gamers, making this a very difficult 5-on-5.
I mean, it's always going to be difficult in a 5-on-5 against all gamers, but when you're playing from half HP, that'll get even worse. And of course, the momentum is there for all gamers. They're hitting their shots. Daniel again goes on his own, tries to make a play into middle. Felipe just trying to help him out, but realistically, this round is already over by the looks of things. A 2v4. GDSC and Nenem's not able to get it done, and that is a huge first half from all gamers. And what a response to what we saw on Black Widow, where it did look like all gamers were just down and out. But they've stepped up again, and they're back on Port. Imperial certainly looking a little less excited here. To the second half we go, and you're going to have to cross your fingers for Imperial to find a couple of early rounds here, because this could well be a pretty quick map otherwise.
Definitely could be all gamers, though. They are in need of this map to take it into a third map of the series here and potentially fight all the way back for a shot at the semifinal spot here up for grabs, the first of the day. We'll see who can walk away with it. Right now, all gamers, though, will be favoring a potential A take here, sending 3 players into the A connector, but will be Imperial set up for this quite nicely, having 2 players directly on site and 1 player nearby as well. It's going to be Nenims on the bridge cross, so they are prepared for this attack. But all gamers, we've seen how they've been shooting here on this map so far. They're going to have to be careful for Imperial.
Danimal bobbing up and down on the A-bomb side is going to be the first one to take the challenge. However, Will on the swing finds a double. Felipe keeping his eyes on long as well. Looks to be a strong, solid defense to start things off for Imperial. For a moment, TMQ was a problem, but not for too long. Inevitably, though, ZQ and Bean have found a killer piece, and now Bean gets two. All of a sudden, GDSC, he's on his own, and what looked like a fantastic round to start things off on the defensive side for Imperial has just fallen to dust.
Right now, it's a bit of deja vu. ZQ and Bean clutching it out once again here, but it's not over just yet. GDSC has some potential, some good utility damage being dealt from him. Hits the headshot onto ZQ as well. Beautiful shots there, but Bean holding the angle here. GDSC will be ready. He's not going to be, though. Bean cleans it up, and it's yet another clutch from the dynamic duo of Bean and ZQ once again doing the work for their team, and this is the Bean we needed to see at the end of Black Widow.
More and more frustration on the faces there of Imperial as well. And they definitely do seem like a momentum-based team. You know, like I said, when they are on, and they cannot be defeated. But it takes a lot of mental fortitude to come back from a deficit like this, and I'm just not sure Imperial has it in them. Felipe is going to change things up a little, though. Keeping things interesting on long.
ZQ and ZY both sitting outside of A long, though. Felipe decides to back off into a safer position, but once again, it's going to be Bean getting the opening pick here, takes down Will, and that is exactly what all gamers were looking for here to start off this round. Danimal trying to pick up the pieces here in mid, still can't seem to find anyone just yet, but now all of AG is grouping up for the A execute, just leaving TMQ to hold for the rotators out of the B tunnels, and this is what Imperial has to prepare for. Last time around, they were able to get 2 entry frags on the A site, but still lost to the A attack, and Danimal getting a little bit aggressive here in mid may not be the smartest decision. If they lose him, the A site is surely compromised at this point.
Well, all gamers working as a wolf pack, heading into ward mid. Danimal seems to have a sneaking suspicion of what's going on over there, but is only going to be able to call that information over to his teammates, not able to act on it himself. Felipe, however, continues to keep an eye on long. LSN, ZY, ZQ, and Bean headed in his direction. Almost all gamers are there. And it only takes one. ZQ this time is the player to drop Felipe. Danimal dives up onto the bomb site, but it's onto TMQ and ZY, who are the ones that are really doing the damage, and that might well be that for all gamers. They're onto map point now. And Imperial, gone is that gusto, gone is that bravado as well of the team. Just completely quiet after that round. 9-2, I guess they have a reason for it.
And all gamers, this definitely begs the question if they could potentially be the best port team in the world. I mean, a 10-1 against Baisha, now looking like a 10-2 here against Imperial. After losing to them 10-7, this has shown some huge chops on this map from all gamers, but still, even if they do walk away with this, they have to remember in the back of their minds, there's still another map to decide who takes away this series here. It will be Ankara's the final map to decide who walks away with it, but GDSC trying to keep the dream alive here on map number 2. There is still a small potential for the comeback here. If they somehow fight this one into an overtime, they could bring this one back, but still all gamers want no chance of that happening. They're going to force the execution here over towards the A bomb site. Danimal finds one, make it a double kill here on the top of A. It's looking like a potential win on the round here for Imperial. LSN left alone on the back of the ladder here over towards A. LSN, he does manage to find one here, make it a double kill. Surely not a 1v4 clutch for the map victory, but with just 11 HP, it's not going to happen. Will takes him down, and it's going to be Imperial finding a third, but still 6 straight rounds. Doesn't seem too likely at this point.
No, it certainly doesn't. Well, Imperial have a lot of work to do, but that is at least a nice round to put on the board so that they can say they didn't get completely shut out in the second half. GDSC will begin the round quite well for Imperial, but will the struggle do continue? As he will fall. So 4v4, very early on in the round to find a couple of picks like that, but both teams will be relatively okay with proceedings thus far.
We do see 3 stacked now actually for Imperial. It's a very risky decision considering It's just going to be Danimal left alone with an on the A-bomb site. No players really directly holding mid as well. It's just going to be a passive angle from Felipe here, who hasn't had the best of halves himself. And AG, they know exactly what they need to do here. Play this one careful and wait for the mistakes to be made from Imperial. They've made quite a few on their defensive half as well, just getting a bit too aggressive on these peaks. GDSC giving up his position in mid behind the smoke, has to fall off here. Play this one a bit safer. Felipe gets challenged, cannot connect the shots either, and this could be it for All Gamers, forcing their way into the B bomb side. And there's only one player here left on site. Nenim's stuck here, has to hide behind the smoke and wait for the rotation, but ZQ is already in the lower B tunnels to take him down, and it's a 4-on-2 retake. Imperial left with their backs against the wall here.
Oh, All Gamers are like a swarm. They just get behind you and around you, and there's nowhere that you can go, but that's a good shot from Danimal, and an even better to follow. Bean falls as well, hiding next to the box. All of a sudden, we go back to a 2v2, and maybe that's doable for Imperial. It has to be doable for Imperial if they're to keep themselves alive in this map. 20 seconds left. GDSC will be joined by Danimal, who now has the job to do, but he can't, and it's All Gamers that are going to pick up map 2. Port will go their way, and that means Ankara awaits.
Welcome back to the desk. All Gamers bringing it back now 1-1, and to me quite an interesting game, a tale of two sides here between those first two maps. Jordan, it felt like Imperial, they pushed A once on attack, it didn't work out, which to be fair I think was kind of their fault anyway, and then they just ignored the A site for the next 6 rounds or so. I don't know if that's based on the fact that Bean had control of it when we watched All Gamers play on Port earlier in the week, or something else. What do you take away from that?
Certainly could have been a factor, but yeah, it really did seem like the strategy from the outset there for Imperial was to be very B and very mid-heavy. I think multiple times we saw them try to go to the B site, try to fake that out, and then rotate in through mid and kind of collapse on the players that were kind of trying to come in and out from All Gamers. And that worked once or twice, but by and large, we really did see All Gamers quite well prepared for that sort of fast play style that they were throwing at them. So I really don't know that Imperial had the greatest of times there on the attack, and they probably could have gotten 1 or 2 more rounds if some of the certain instances, certain angels had sort of been shored up, and unfortunately they're just not able to do that. And sort of once that negative attitude, once that tilt kind of sets in a little bit for Imperial, I mean, I think you can see how things went quite quickly down the slope, and All Gamers able to clean Port up really easily.
Yeah, they certainly did. And look, Kyle, do you feel that now with this momentum, obviously All Gamers back on top, which of the two teams do you think is the more momentum-based team?
I definitely think it's got to be Imperial for me. As we saw in the first map, once they had that momentum, they were able to hold on to it. But on Port, it felt like they never really got that initial momentum they needed to continue forward. And All Gamers, on top of that, you had Bean stepping it up after he fell off a little bit in the second half of Black Widow. But in those fights in mid, he was just uncontested completely by GDSZ. And if he can continue that forward into map number 3, it's going to be a very rough time for Imperial.
Yeah, it's kind of tough, right, Jordan, when they're like, all right, well, we're going to avoid pushing A on attack, so Bean just rotates across, moves slightly towards the middle of the map, takes down mid, and has the same sort of impact that he had before. So if you're an All Gamers fan, very happy to see that Bean is now back on top. And to be fair, I feel like what we saw from him in the first map today is probably the worst he's played all tournament.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, you look toward TMQ and LSN there as well for All Gamers, and I thought they really did a good job of locking down mid. I like the Crossfire setups that they had sort of established in mid, and it really didn't seem like it was ever going to be a favourable scenario for Imperial when they tried to attack that area of the map, just because of the nature of the way that All Gamers had set themselves up. So I really felt like they had a good grasp of what they need to be doing on the defensive side of Port there, All Gamers, which, you know, sort of goes hand in hand with what Carl was saying about how they performed so well against Baisha. It really does seem to be a super super solid map for All Gamers. So if we do see All Gamers end up progressing through to the semi-finals and maybe even to the grand finals, I wouldn't be too surprised to see teams maybe looking at that one as a map that they should be banning.
Yeah, this is the thing that I wanted to go back to, right? When you look at the vetoes and you see Compound go, I almost think maybe surely Compound could not have gone any worse than how Port went, right? It's almost one of those scenarios where you're like, well, maybe Compound brings us closer together. Yes, our game against Lazarus was not very good on this, but that game then was very bad, and we saw All Gamers so strong on Port earlier in the tournament that surely going to a map like Compound and leaving that in the pool and removing a map like Port can't be any worse, Kyle.
Yeah, I think for Imperial here, it was probably more of their comfort here, feeling better on Port than they did on Compound. I mean, even though you have AG being so strong on Port, they maybe felt they could maybe muscle back and do more than they did on Compound, just being not quite as familiar with the map. So I think for them, that was probably why they came up with that decision. But moving forward, I think it came down to the in-game leading for me on this map. You had Imperial seeming not to adapt quickly, not seeming to really know what All Gamers was doing and being able to adjust. And going into a map like Ankara, I think they're going to have to change that up if they want any hopes of winning this series. Yeah,
Jordan, a little bit unlucky perhaps for Imperial not to see Ankara come in second, going to be third. So instead of coming off the momentum of map number 1, they've now got the momentum against them. All Gamers back on top, being feeling confident again. It's exactly, I think, what All Gamers needed. To be fair, what I think we're going to see here is a true representation of how these two teams match up, going all the way on this best of 3.
Yeah, look, I wouldn't really say I'm too concerned about Imperial when it does come to being down in that sort of slump. They really are, I think, at least able to pull themselves out of that. We've sort of seen that be a characteristic of their play throughout not only this matchup, but the games yesterday. You know, they got down pretty early against Lazarus. They got down pretty early against All Talents. And obviously you saw in Black Widow, they were down 5-0 against All Gamers. So it's not even against some of the weaker teams that they are able to come back from that deficit. Obviously, mentality-wise, I don't think things were quite there for them on Port, but I wouldn't be overly concerned for Imperial, at least in that department of their gameplay. I think they are a team that has the mental strength, at least enough to be able to come back from deficits, and they've already shown that they can do it against All Gamers and potentially take a pretty good challenge. And I think All Gamers did look a little bit weaker yesterday on Ankara than they have certainly on Port, so I think we're actually in for a pretty good third map here.
Yeah, that's a good point, Kyle. Like, when you think of this, right, if you're Imperial right now, you've come to CFS 2019, you've got a couple of world champions on your team. Yes, you're up against All Gamers. However, you're on a map you're relatively comfortable with, and you're now one map away from making it through to the semi-finals.
All right, into the final map, at least for one of the two teams that we're going to get to see them play here at Crossfire Stars. This is an elimination map, Ankara. And after this, we'll say goodbye to either Imperial or All Gamers, and we will also find out which of our teams will be progressing to the semi-finals. Certainly a lot resting on this map indeed. All Gamers going to be the ones to start off on the defensive side, and Imperial on the offense. Dynamo quickly into mid. So is the rest of Imperial. They do not seem to want to slow down at all.
And Imperial actually getting the side advantage here could play into favor for them, but AG reading the setups quite well so far. They have 3 players already prepped for this A execution here on the defenses. ZY and TMQ playing the nice cross here on the A staircase, and as we see the flashes over the top indicate the push is going to be coming in. ZY immediately taken down, though, and Imperial steamroll their way into sight, only losing 1 for 3 in the process. And that is exactly what you hope for on this A execution here. Bean and LSN left to try and recover this one, but Imperial may have everything in the cards for the opening round here, but LSN throws a lot of pressure here onto Nenims, taking him almost out there, but he actually backs off and stays alive. 22 seconds, they have to force their way in. Nenims finds one. Bean misses the shot, and he's taken down as well, and it's going to be a quick round on the board here for Imperial to kick us off on map number 3.
Yeah, that's really clean from Imperial. Time to pump up and get excited about things as well, because they've had very little to scream about in the last 30 minutes or so when they were playing on port, but certainly getting off to a better start there on Ankara. Back into the swing of things, though, is AG. It's LSN that decides to push out, and interestingly, a double AWP setup, it seems. GDSC, his position is well and truly known, and all gamers are going to shut him down easily indeed. He didn't have anyone to back him up.
And this is what I really like to see, the adjustments here from all gamers. They were afraid to push on their defensive half when they first played this map against Anubis, and you can tell they've done their homework, and they know that the aggression on this defensive side has to be there in spurts, or you're not going to have any hopes of taking away rounds on this global risk half. So I definitely like the adjustment here. They get the early round advantage, and now they just need to hold on to it, as it forced Imperial to rotate all the way over towards B. And AG, you can see they know it. They already have 4 players stacked here and ready for this B attack.
Sometimes that might not even be enough against the wave of power that Imperial boys are going to be able to bring into bear on this bomb site. Felipe starts off well. ZQ needs to step up now for all gamers, and he will do so, but only for the one frag. TMQ hiding behind the box, though, was unexpected. And that, I think, is the spanner in the works that Imperial were not too keen on seeing. But nonetheless, they've still done a good job to bring it back to 2v2, which is a winnable scenario. However, all gamers have that fast rotate, so it's tough to get the bomb plant down here for Imperial.
LSN, though, will spot Will on the back of site there, and I don't think they were ready for that 4th player to be on the bomb site from all gamers. Not a very common thing to do. It's going to pay off in their favor. All gamers tying this one up 1-1. Still a lot left to be played here in our final map, but all gamers responding quickly before any side is able to gain any momentum just yet.
A little bit of utility utilized early on in the round here by Imperial. It doesn't really seem to have given all gamers too much pause for thought, though. They are going to rotate an extra player back again over toward the B side of the map, so it's really more or less another 4-1 split here from Chinese squad. What a tight angle from Bean. I think he has just connected onto GDSZ there, but it might have been a little bit through the wall. It hasn't quite finished him off, but some nice damage early on in the piece. The grenade's coming back, though. Wow, LSN is lucky to be clinging to life. So, pretty tumultuous start to the round.
This time around, though, Felipe takes down Bean. GDSC very low, but it's actually ZQ who's put to the test here, and he's going to be taken down by the cult of GDSC, the one player with a sliver of HP. He couldn't even be taken down here. Now a 2-on-5, LSN already feeling the heat here as well. ZY has to be the one to try and bring this one back, as he's now left alone in a 1-on-4, has to get the ace and the round for his team to be able to hold on. It's not looking too likely here. Imperial has this site locked down here, and Felipe shuts it down, and just like that, they're back in the lead 2-1.
Back into the swing of things, Imperial indeed. All gamers will be scratching their heads a little bit, figuring out what is plan B here. We have seen quite a few plan Bs when it does come to Ankara on the defensive side. You can see a little bit of control trying to be taken in middle, or you can try to see some aggression out from the A side of the map. But so far, all gamers have been quite content just to sit quite passively back into the bomb sites. LSN has a little bit of a peek into mid there. Not really going to gain too much of it. Imperial, however, have lost quite a significant chunk of their HP to the utility, so it's not a terrible start to the round here for all gamers, but really more standard fare than anything else right now.
And here we have it. It's going to be ZY who mistakenly peeks out a bit too soon there. He's taken down very early on in this round. It's going to be a 5-on-4. Imperial now working their way on this fake. The rest of their players shifting over towards the B tunnels. It's going to be GDSC left there to hold off any rotators. But AG They're actually going to fall for this trap here, leaving one in the tower, only one direct defender on the B bomb side, and it's going to be LSN left in a very difficult position here, and he's not even watching it now either. Bean has to turn back around and try and hold this one off after taking down Danimal on the flank here. It's going to be a full push coming in from Imperial. Still GDSC holding the flank as well. It's going to be a tough one, though. All Gamers putting the pressure on them, but the smoke screen actually isolates everyone. There's no one directly able to contest this now.
It's a nice angle for Bean to be holding right now, but he's still not able to deal with anyone through that smoke, or above that smoke, I should say. GDSC gets collapsed upon by LSN. Now that's the numbers advantage for All Gamers. Very quickly falls back by the wayside as Felipe does catch Bean off. And now the push comes out from All Gamers. Will to stand as the guardian of the bomb site for Imperial, but really won't be able to do a whole lot. And Felipe now hiding behind the boxes, 5-1. Might be able to add a couple more to the tally, and with 8 seconds left on the defuse here, I don't know, All Gamers, I think they've just gotten it in time, and they certainly have. That was a little too close for comfort.
Definitely a bit too close there. Felipe trying to run down the clock. If he had got maybe just one of those two remaining players, he might have had a chance to take that round away, but unfortunately, it will not go his way here. Still tied 2-2. AG this time around, though, it's going to be an aggressive play over towards B. Will, not prepared for that aggression to come out his way. He's immediately taken down. Only a little bit of damage there being dealt onto TMQ, but Imperial, they are going to be responding nicely. They saw the three-man push towards B. They're going to send three of themselves over towards A. ZY, the only one to defend this quickly. LSN, though, tries to rotate into the support, gets the double kill. GDSC now left alone, but Felipe comes running through for the support. ZQ and TMQ here to try and trade this one out. And that they will do here. It looked a bit shaky there for a moment, but AG, the rotations proved to be their strength, and they just barely slip away with it.
What a messy round that was. I mean, you really couldn't have... I don't think you can look at that and say, okay, the X or Y team is going to win. It's really more of a case of who walks through those smokes or who pushes through at the right time, gets the timing right, hits the shots that they need to. And in the end, that was All Gamers. LSN this time tries to get aggressive and is punished for it, but he does have the backup of TMQ and ZY. Regardless, though, TMQ is the last that survives of the push, and he's going to have to fall back through connector into mid. All in all, I'm not sure that AG would have been too happy with the result of that push. Could have definitely been worse, but might actually be even more happy to have a 5v5 here rather than a 3v3, because it does split the bomb sites quite substantially for that defensive side. And as you can see, the A bomb site has absolutely no one on it here for All Gamers.
All Gamers definitely going for the stack here, but if you were going to predict a site for Imperial to go, I think B might be the safe bet here. It seems to be their go-to habit, and that could come back to haunt them here as they now send all of their players slowly towards the B tunnels, just leaving Danimal here to try and lurk his way back through, but he's going to be falling in line as well. But the problem AG has is they've almost split too far. They've fallen off the site. They've given up both sites. And now it's going to be Imperial able to slip in, but Danimal caught on the rotation, but it may not matter. Nenims and Felipe have control of the B bomb site. Now it's all about the retake here. TMQ and ZQ both on the flank.
Have a little bit of time to work with. The bomb going down quite late there for All Gamers, so Imperial can get in a pretty reasonable time, but they have a lot of angles to check, and now Nenims takes the challenge. He's caught off guard. It's Felipe again in a 2v1, and this time he's having a better crack at it. ZQ suffers a couple of bullets in his direction as well. Neither player full HP, but not much time left here for ZQ, and he just catches Felipe in the side, and that is a big moment for All Gamers.
Looking at how this has played out so far, All Gamers actually getting a better point in these situations, as this map does tend to lean in favor of the attacking side, so 4 defensive rounds already on the board has to be a huge boost of momentum for them. And Imperial, they have to know they need at least 4, if not 5 rounds in this half to be able to take this map and, more importantly, this series away and a spot in the semifinals. It's going to be Nenims who gets aggressive up mid, finds one, turns around, gets the double kill. Not the triple kill, unfortunately so, but still he's done his job in this round. Felipe cleans that one up. It's going to be a 4-on-2 now as they work their way carefully into the B bomb site, but ZY and Bean quickly rotating in. They take down GDSC and make this one a 2-on-3.
And this was the dynamic duo that we saw on Black Widow causing so much terror early on in the piece. Things haven't been quite so clean yet on Ankara, and nor will it seem that will continue. ZY to fall. Bean creeps forward with the Orm, and realistically this is not a winnable scenario for him, especially with a weapon like that. You're just not able to get multi-frags. So that is a much needed round victory for Imperial to keep them in the swing of things. And a change up from them as well. They played aggressively, they played fast, and they caught all gamers off guard. But I'm not sure that that is going to work too many more rounds in a row. I'll have to put the thinking caps on.
ZY about to be challenged by 4 players here, finds one, finds the double kill. Danimal finally able to trade it out, but it may not matter. Bean finds the entry onto Felipe. It's a 4-on-2. Will and Danimal forced back in their positioning here. Will actually on the flank though. They have no idea. He snuck into the global risk spawn, now working his way quickly behind enemy lines here. This is going to be the potential to turn this round back on its head. Danimal and Will playing the timing here is going to be key. ZQ is taken out on the flank, but it's not going to matter. TMQ comes through for the support, and it's still going to be Danimal left alone now in a 1-on-3.
Well, this will be a punishing blow for Imperial as well, won't it? Danimal has so much weight on his shoulders now as he will walk his way out onto the A bomb site. TMQ spotted, but Danimal is as well, and that's very nicely played from TMQ. Even in the worst case scenario, if he dies there, he's positioned accordingly that there will be a trade. And it seems like all gamers are the ones that are well and truly in control of this map and this half.
And here we see it again, the 3-man push coming out towards B, and it's going to be a complete decimation on this push from Imperial. No players coming out alive. AG loses nobody except for the over-aggressive push here on A-Long. ZY does manage to go down here, but it still may not be enough to take this round back into their hands. Felipe and GDSZ, a 2v4 situation. The bomb still in their control. AG stacked up over towards this B bomb site though. There is an opportunity to sneak into an uncontested A bomb site, and that could be a chance to take this round away. But as we can see, AG catching on to their positioning mistakes. They're going to rotate very quickly and spread out.
Felipe is the one with the C4 as well, so even if they took control of the A bomb site, Felipe would be the one that gets there second and therefore can't get the bomb down too quickly, which is great news for all gamers. As you can see, they don't need to be doing anything right now. Just grouping up, playing that Wolfpack style, knowing and believing that if they do end up taking an engagement here, they can trade down effectively with these numbers. Either way, they can rotate to whichever bomb site Imperial does head to. So they are content to allow the bomb plant to go down.
Very risky decision here, though. Stacking all 4 players on neither site when you have a numbers advantage almost seems like the potential thrown into the hands now of Imperial. They have the angles they can play at their advantage, but they still have to hit the shots. Both of them needing at least 2, and that may be enough to get the job done here for AG, and that it will. TMQ and ZQ clean this one up, and that is a 6-3 first half, going the way of all gamers. A very commanding lead to start off this final map.
Very solid indeed, 6-3, and that is exactly where you'd want to be. Ankara is going well for all gamers. Lots of thinking to do for Imperial now as we head into the second half. They have a large onus on them to pick up a couple early on in the piece and really bring themselves back into the swing of things here on Ankara. Otherwise, they will be the first team departing the quarterfinals.
AG taking this one slow to start it off. Imperial did send 2 players here to push out B-Long and take that map control. So right now, map control definitely in favor of Imperial, but AG they're just going to force right into it. They have a sense that there may be a weakness over towards this A bomb site. It's going to be Danimal and GDSC having to defend 5-on-2 here. We'll see if they can find the way to frag out. A nice smoke, though, forcing them to push through it from Imperial. It's not going to matter. Beam quickly scopes one down, and it's going to be Danimal who picks up the double kill before finally going down as well. A lot of damage being dealt there by the two defenders, but will it be enough here on the retake?
I'm not so sure about that. Lots of utility to play with here still for all gamers, so they're going to fire most of that into the connector. That is going to slow things down for Imperial on the rotate back across. Flashbang through does catch ZQ, but they can't push because there's a smoke there. And so Imperial biding as much time as they possibly can as Beam jumps back up onto the bomb site and is good for one. Will spots out TMQ, and that's a nicely executed retake by Imperial. The Brazilian squad, they needed something to lift off in this second half, and that is going to be the round that gets them back into the swing of things.
And really, you have to hand that round over to Danimal. I mean, you had Bean taking down GDSC almost immediately. It looked very scary, but Danimal did 50 damage on the two players and killed two others, and that just gave them the momentum to have a lot on their side for that retake positioning. So we'll see if they can hold it once again, but this time it is going to be AG playing this one a lot slower. GDSC, though, sneaks out, and ZY has no idea, and he's taken out for it. Nice play to get things started off for Imperial.
Just another piece of the puzzle being put into place by Imperial. I mean, they don't really even have, I suppose, the corners put into place just yet, Imperial, but they're working their way through it. They're figuring things out. And if they can lock a couple more pieces in, then we might actually have a game on our hands. 6-4 right now, very quickly can turn into an even scoreline. And then all of a sudden, the pressure's back onto all gamers because Imperial would have put 3 together.
Nenim's in the key position now, has 3 players ready to challenge him. They're going to push aggressively in. A nice nade to try and stall things out, but Nenims has to be careful here. Gets flashed and forced to fall off yet again, but now Felipe here for the support. He's going to fall right back into the arms of his teammates here and hope they can hold on to this numbers advantage. Definitely a smart decision there from Nenims not to risk giving up that advantage.
Big rotate back to the other side of the map for all gamers. Bean again leading the charge. He'll set himself on an angle and wait to see whether or not Imperial are going to allow anyone to walk into his crosshair. It doesn't look like that'll be the case. Danimal gets aggressive though, and this is an interesting choice for Imperial. Does it work out? Well, a 1-for-1 leaves the jury out just a little bit, but Will, hiding behind the box, may be the difference maker as he pushes forward, looks for the fight down the stairs. LSN, however, will find the victory there, but Felipe and GDSD with a couple of headshots. They're going to win the round there for Imperial, and Will is trying to break the decibel meter in the studio.
Rightfully so. Imperial fighting their way back, slowly but surely getting into this one. Started off as a 6-3 half, and now they're just 1 away from the tie here. Imperial doing what they need to try and bring this one back, but they need to be careful in this round. Nenims pushing very aggressively into mid. Could potentially be caught off guard here. AG looking to try and find one of these players through the smoke, but it's actually Nenims and Felipe who sneak past. There's nobody directly defending this B bomb site. AG has pushed out completely too far here, and this is going to be a tough one, as now there's going to be a huge fight here in B, but it's not going to matter. AG come out on top somehow. Imperial not ready in this positioning, and will at least find ZY out of it, but AG get a huge early round advantage out of this.
Yeah, TMQ able to back away and keep the numbers advantage there for AG. That's a good early sign. Mid control established as well for the Chinese squad. And Will might well creep into their waiting arms. He does. It's a 1-for-1. That's still favorable. All gamers will look to continue to trade down with that numbers advantage. Again, you can see them continue with that Wolfpack mentality.
Danimal now left alone here over towards B. GDSC just going to be holding the A connector here, so it's really going to be a 1-on-3 if he wants to try and contest this initially on the B plant, but he's actually going to rotate out here into mid as well and maybe get there just in time, but they're actually going to gamble together and stack themselves over towards A, which unfortunately for Imperial is going to be the wrong decision here. AG now has full control over this B bomb site, And now it's all about holding this one off on the post plant here. Imperial has a long way to rotate. Danimal already being caught in the lower B tunnels as well. Leaves GDSC all alone in the back of spawn here, trying to find a way back into this retake.
GDSC. 1 versus 3 with 20 seconds on the clock. Definitely seems like some slim odds here. AG will make short work of it. And they creep closer to the semi-finals. 7 up now for them. 3 rounds away. It's almost within clutching distance. You know, you can almost reach out and hold it. I think AG just need to put in a little bit more work here, and they might well have this. It certainly seems like Ankara is a map that I'd say at the moment is leaning towards AG. Maybe a good couple of rounds here from Imperial can make the difference. Danimal, GDSC, again, tasked with the defense on the A-bomb side.
GDSC though goes down immediately. Danimal manages to find one, but that's not going to be enough to hold this one off. Will has to force his way in here and find some sort of entry to get recontrol over the site. He does find one on a TMQ, and the rest of AG is stuck on the back of the staircase. There's now a pretty solid opportunity on this flank coming out from Nenims. He's going to be quickly working his way behind them long A. Will, he just needs to stay alive here and wait for the flank. The time is ticking, but Will, he's found another ZQ. Could be compromised in this positioning now if he's not careful. Nenims quickly working his way behind here on the flank. It's going to be a 3-on-2. Bean and ZQ, though. If anyone could do it, surely it's them at this point.
Well, things have slowed down quite substantially because all gamers are not able to get the bomb plant down. They've allowed Imperial to get onto the bomb side, and ZQ's run out of ammo. Another big moment for Imperial as they just keep it from teetering over the precipice. It really felt like if All Gamers gets to 8 there, that's just a little bit too much to come back from an 8-5. But 7-6 certainly looking much better on paper here for Imperial. Still not the scoreline that they'd like. And GDSC gets a kill in the exact same fashion again. We've seen that a couple times. Something that AG are definitely going to need to adapt to.
I think ZY would have learned by now. He's actually the same person who's died in that position every time as well, sitting at 1-5, just feeding some kills over to GDSZ, but he does take some damage in the process on that fight at least, giving AG a little bit of comfort in knowing that remaining player is going to be a bit low. AG, though, taking a lot of their resources here now and pushing into the lower B tunnels. Bean and LSN looking to potentially find an opening here, but Felipe just going to be jump spotting it with a flashbang in hand. They know all they need to do in this position is stall and rotate to keep this numbers advantage on their side.
It's one of Bean's favorite angles to attack from with the Orm. Has had great success here. Not necessarily in this matchup, but in previous ones. Felipe, however, on the off angle. TMQ and Bean will forward Felipe. He's going to get 3. That makes the job easy for GDSC. All of a sudden we equalize.
Imperial getting that momentum. That's not what you want to see in a match this close. You really have to keep them from getting that energy back under them. We saw what happened when they got the momentum on their side on Black Widow. They were just able to steamroll the second half, but All Gamers, they're starting to let this one slip here, and they need to be careful. Both teams now 3 rounds away from a spot in the semifinals, but also 3 rounds away from being our first team out here in the quarterfinals, and neither team wanting to be the first of their region to go. Both all of China and all of Brazil are still alive in this tournament until this map is decided. No one wants to be that first from their region to let it slip. Nenims on the hunt here over towards B. Spots Bean, cannot connect the shots though, and has to fall off. But Felipe, he's caught off guard. ZQ and TMQ pushing into him to get that early entry.
It's been a good quarterfinal so far, but all good things must come to an end, at least for one of the teams. Their run at Crossfire Stars starting to wane. ZY's got some nice positioning here, as does the rest of All Gamers, who will, I think, look to head toward the B bomb site. Beans open things up again as well, and ZY starts to push out as well. Spots the player on the site. That's short work made of Nenims. Danimal stuck behind the smoke as well, so All Gamers are just going to be able to waltz their way onto this bomb site. 5 versus 2. LSN just needs to make sure he doesn't get a little bit too overeager and push through that smoke, which he will not. And ZQ, I think, has spotted Danimal out here. They've got the idea, they know, and they fire through the box. That'll be the end of him, and it's just GDSZ to keep this one alive for Imperial. A situation we've seen all too many times for him. And with very much the same result there, as all gamers again fight back, and they're back in the lead.
It's now down to the wire here. Imperial looking to tie it at 8, but if All Gamers picks up this round, it will be 2 match point opportunities on the table and a chance to close out this series in their favor. Imperial, though, they need to have a solid defense here, but AG, they are wasting no time. 3 players already make it 4, working their way quickly into the B tunnels, and Nenims and Will, they have to be ready to respond in this position. Felipe comes in for the support, but it may not matter. He's already taken down. Nenims has to fall back and wait for the support of his team. All Gamers aggressively push in, but immediately they actually pull back here into mid, and it's going to be a full rotation, potentially over towards A now, and this is where the A defender has to be careful. It's only a lone wolf here of GDSC left on the site and no one else to help him.
Well, All Gamers are really toying with the mind games here. They're really making Imperial think about what's going on. What on earth is AG doing? They found the entry, and yet they've just backed away. That's something that you can do in Crossfire because there is so much time in the rounds. All gamers know they have the advantage here, and they're really just going to make Imperial feel even more uncomfortable on these bomb sites, on this defense. But they do default back toward the B bomb site. Nice timing on that smoke, though. Yeah, I wonder if AG decides to go through it. It looks like they will. Perhaps a little unexpected here for Imperial. Bean is the one that's leading the charges. Some utility does get thrown onto the side, and ZQ, TMQ are the ones to find the openers. And TMQ gets himself up into the sniper's nest there as well, which is a powerful position, resulting in another kill onto Nenims. Danimal a 1v4, again an all too familiar territory. Another 1v4 for an Imperial player, and it is just not doable. It's match point time now for All Gamers. Imperial with their backs against the wall.
Right now, Imperial needs everything they've got in these final 2 rounds of regulation to try and take this one into overtime. Danimal already feeling the pressure here over towards A long. It's going to be All Gamers going for the full execution very quickly to try and take control here over towards A. Danimal and Will both in position to respond, but if they get smoked off, there's no players defending this A bomb site here against All Gamers. It's going to be GDSC who quickly notices something's wrong here, has to rotate in, but it's not going to matter. ZY's already on the back of the bomb site. They've completely give this one up.
Yeah, GDSC is way too late. Oh my god, how does this happen? 5 players onto the bomb site. Grenades, utility, smokes, flashes, everything flying in the direction of Imperial, and the bomb plant goes down really early. This will have to be a magical retake from Imperial as they start to work their way in.
Will going to be the first to challenge. It's going to be 1-for-1 trade as ZQ will hold on, picks up the double kill though. Big headshots coming out from him, and this could be the beginning of the end here now. Felipe and GDSC, the last 2 left. It's all on GDSC, and it's not going to happen. All Gamers take this one 2-1 on the series score, 10-7 here in the final map, and book themselves a ticket as our first team